So this isn't really going to be like a structured video at all. Normally I'd write a script for a video like this, but I don't really have enough time and I've been revising and, you know, stuff like that. So I'm going to talk about spiritual determinism, which is kind of like the flip side of psychological determinism. Well, actually it's not the flip side, because psychological determinism is kind of like only part of scientific determinism. The way I see it is, and I don't really know whether anyone else shares the same viewpoint as me, but there's two types of determinism. There's scientific determinism and there's spiritual determinism. So in my psychological determinism video I talked about one aspect of scientific determinism, which when talking about human behaviour is arguably the most important aspect of scientific determinism. If anybody doesn't really know what determinism is, it's basically, well, when you're talking about behaviour, determinism is when your behaviour is determined by factors which are external to you. So you can't just decide to be who you are. You can't just think to yourself, I'm going to be an intelligent man. No. Determinism says who you are is determined by other things and not you. You know, things like your genes and other people around you. But when you talk about spiritual determinism, that's basically the notion that supernatural things and spiritual things determine what's going to happen to you and what's going to happen in your life. So what's my opinion on spiritual determinism? Well, most of you probably already guessed. I think that spiritual determinism is completely and utterly stupid. You know, I don't think that the notion is in any way feasible. But I think it's an interesting notion, and it's one that has many different angles to it. There isn't just one big consensus that says this is how spiritual determinism works. It's not like scientific determinism, where evidence and research is actually carried out to actually prove everything that it's saying. Spiritual determinism is just a lot of people who are just like, oh, I think this is how it works, and no one can prove me wrong. An example of spiritual determinism is astrology, the idea that the stars can determine our behaviour. I'm not going to get into too much detail about this because I actually plan to do a whole separate video about astrology, and I'm actually doing sort of like an experiment with my sixth form year. That's not really important right now. Another angle of spiritual determinism is that God controls our lives. It is God's plan that makes us do what we do and how we think. God is controlling the world. Both of these ideas are just manic. They really are, especially astrology. There's just no evidence. In fact, there's no reason, there's no causal link to suggest that the planets and the stars and the constellations are sort of affecting people. You know, there isn't like 12 types of people in the world and there's no like spectrum of behaviour at all. No, there's only 12 types of people in the world. No, that's completely stupid. That's just not how anything works. And you all know that I don't believe in God. I don't believe that God, any kind of God, not just like the monotheistic God, because I completely reject the notion of a monotheistic God. A deistic God, I have no reason to sort of say that a deistic God doesn't exist, but I don't really have any reason to say that it does either. I'm kind of completely 50-50 on the deistic God, because no one knows how the universe was created. But a monotheistic God, I just don't see how it could possibly fit with any kind of model of reality. No kind of understanding of this world would allow us to believe that a supernatural humanoid being is determining how we think and how we behave. Kind of like another reason why I don't adhere to the notion of spiritual determinism is because all aspects of spiritual determinism are so inconsistent. Astrology and theistic determinism are completely incompatible. They can't coexist, not really anyway. And in the spiritual realm as a whole, nothing is consistent. There's many people in this world who are spiritual. I am not one of them. I'm one of the only humans I know, apart from some of my friends. I just don't believe in anything that I can't sense, that isn't tangible. I don't know whether you guys feel the same way. Why don't you just tell me in the comments or something, because I always like to have a connection between me and my audience. I want to know what you guys think, I want to know what your opinions are. But I just don't think that there's anything spiritual. I mean, until it's been proved to me, until I can feel it, until it's tangible, I don't believe that it exists. And this is what I'm saying. People who believe in ghosts, people who believe in God, people who believe in the secrets. I mean, I don't really know much about that, but they're all inconsistent. They can't all exist. I mean, if they did all exist at the same time, it would be a bit weird. It wouldn't really fit in with all the definitions of each spiritual explanation. So that's really why I don't really believe in anything spiritual. None of it's consistent. It's all sort of, it just seems so contrived, and I don't really want to get into it in too much detail. But back on topic, if spiritual determinism really was real, it really was, valid, then what would be the point in anything? In fact, even if scientific determinism existed, even if psychological determinism existed, what would be the point in anything? Because if our behaviour is determined by genes, then we don't have a choice on how we behave, because our genes determine how we behave. So then on the flip side, if genes don't determine how we behave, then our surroundings determine how we behave. And we don't have any input to that either. We don't choose where we're born. All of these factors that determine how we behave are all arbitrary. You are you because you just are. And it's determined. Spiritually or scientifically, it doesn't matter. And that's why I don't think that anything matters. It's pretty depressing, but whatever. Sorry that this video has been so sort of choppy and weird, and I haven't really had time to kind of think about what I'm going to say. Please leave a comment. It's the only thing that actually makes me feel like I'm not alone in this world. And if you want to have a little bit of a taste of my personal life, then go ahead and like my Facebook page. It is, of course, called Tonneofash. I'll put a link in the description. But I'll put on that page like some photos of what I'm doing and updates. So if I don't want to make a video just explaining what I'm doing, I'll just type it on the Facebook group. So go ahead and do that. I will be making videos occasionally after my exam season is over, which is not... It's gonna be soon. In like a few days. I'm doing business and ICT next week, and that's it. And then exam season is over and I can continue making videos. Go and like my Facebook page, leave a comment, tell me what you think and your views on spiritualism. Are any of you spiritual? Do any of you believe in God? Which would be quite strange if you subscribe to my channel and you believe in God. I mean, it would be nice to have a few theistic subscribers, to have a few more sort of views bouncing across. But yeah, tell me your views and tell me what you think about the video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.